It is an anthology movie consisting of 4 stories about people getting infected by a disease created by a scientist. The first story starts in Santiago de Chile. A man opens a locked facility that looks abandoned. He is searching through the facility, looking for something. He flashes the light of the torch in a room and then proceeds further, trying to find something meaningful. He then enters what looks like a record room and starts to explore further. After looking around, he finally stands before a cupboard, opens one of the drawers, and finds a blue box inside. He takes it out, inspects it to confirm if it is the box he was looking for, and leaves the place. He returns to his house along with that box. His house is dark and messy. He places the box on the table and begins to inspect it. A tiny black object that resembles a recorder comes out, and the scene ends right there. 2 Italian girls, Lily and her friend, Natalia, cheerfully enter a nightclub and are ready to find someone rich. They arrive at the bar and start chatting with a man who seems to be waiting for someone. The man sounds welcoming and jolly and introduces himself as Charlie. He leaves the 2 of them to buy drinks. They start drinking and chatting with each other. As soon as he is all drunk, they start to talk to him and try to take out all the information they can get from him about his job. They keep chatting the whole time. The man they've met is a lawyer, and he's working on some big projects that could earn him a hefty sum. Later, he offers them a ride to his home, and they agree. All 3 of them drive together to the man's home. The house is small, filled with wine bottles and dirty dishes. The man switches on the lights, and it turns out that it is the same house that is shown at the beginning. Before doing anything else, he immediately picks up the blue box that is still there on the table and locks it in the store under the stairs. The door of the spandrel is made out of iron rods. Charlie goes to another room to get something, and Lily accompanies him to the other room. Meanwhile, Natalia walks to the spandrel and slides her hands inside. With some difficulty, she clicks open the box and starts to look for something useful. But in the exact instant, Lily and Charlie return. The hurried expressions of Charlie locking the box have made it clear that it has something extremely precious inside. Natalia and Charlie begin to make out. Meanwhile, Lily, while preparing a drink, adds something to the man's glass. She asks him to finish the drink as they both leave the room, luring the man into getting something extra if he finishes the whole glass. They both enter the bathroom and stand before a mirror, checking their reflection. They start conversing in Italian, so the man doesn't understand. They've emptied their glasses in the sink and begin to wait for him to lose consciousness. When they return, he has completed his drink and looks high. They begin to entertain him, and they wait for him to pass out. After a while, he's entirely out. They both run toward the spandrel, but suddenly, the man attacks Natalia and hits Lily. Lily drops down to the floor. She picks up a bottle from the bar and hits him in the head to save Natalia. He faints and drops down. Lily quickly grabs the blue box, and they both leave his house. They both get into the car and start driving far away from his house. When they reach a safe distance from his home, they open the box, but as soon as they do, a gas is released which sprays all over their faces, and they begin to cough. Upon checking the box with caution, they find his ID. He was from Chile, and his name is Andres. It became evident that he had lied to them. They assume him to be a crack dealer. They keep coughing and search more. Inside, it is loaded with money, and they both start to cheer with enthusiasm. Natalia is happy that her mother can finally be cured, and Lily is delighted for her. Suddenly, Natalia's nose starts to bleed, and after a while, Lily's too. They both start coughing badly. At that very moment, they find a car approaching them. Lily runs to the car and tries to ask for help. Suddenly, a man in a PPE suit comes out. It appears that this man knew they had been infected, and he is wearing the PPE suit to avoid getting infected. The man is holding a gun in his hand. Lily runs toward Natalia to save her. She keeps nudging at her, but she does not respond. Lily turns around and finds him signaling her to sit inside. But Lily takes the blue box and starts running away, leaving Natalia behind. After a while, both Natalia and Lily are infected, and their skin starts to deteriorate. Lily breaks her bone, and she falls to the ground. The man continues to follow her. He approaches her and picks up the blue box. Meanwhile, another car arrives at the scene, and a man comes out. He seems aware of the situation and starts to look around. The man in the suit seems like Andres, and he begins clicking photos and capturing their voices, too. The stranger picks up Natalia and puts her inside the car, while the man in the suit shoots down Lily. He keeps shooting her until she meets her demise. Lily's body has completely deteriorated. When the stranger returns, he realizes that Natalia is not present where he has left her. He quietly leaves the place. The next scene starts in Rome, Italy, 84 days after the beginning of the movie. A person is lying on the floor and is having blurred visions of his savior. The man who rescued him, Owen, has called the ambulance and is trying to keep him awake long enough so his life can be saved. Owen is asking him to keep breathing and assures him that he is going to survive. They both are in the middle of the road. The wounded stranger is lying on the road, while Owen is telling the ambulance about his situation and how he found the injured stranger on the road. The medics check up on him, put him on a stretcher, and take him away. The medics ask him about his contact details, so they can call him once he is fine. But before Owen can do so, the injured man starts to crash. Before handing the medics his wallet, Owen takes all the cash from inside, and a wicked smile begins to spread across his lips. In a messy house, a woman is washing the dishes and watching the news about a Chilean scientist trying to infect everyone. Owen switches off the TV and tells his girlfriend about the injured guy he found in the middle of the road. There is some lie in his tone, but the girl seems unaware of it. The following day, the girlfriend gets up to leave for work. The boy is sitting on the couch when his attention is caught by the jacket and the money stashed inside it. He gets up, counts the money, and hides it away. Later, he feels sick and calls his girlfriend, asking her to return early. He starts coughing vigorously and also suffers from stomach aches. Owen does not feel fine and keeps coughing. The girlfriend returns early and feels irritated by her boyfriend. She hands him something to eat, and he eats it in a single go like he has been starving for ages. This shocks the girlfriend, but she assumes that he must be hungry. She leaves the room to let Owen sleep, but he keeps puking and calls her for help. The situation starts to get worse and worse. Even after 2 days, he does not feel good. He is hungry all the time and eats like he is starving. He is having difficulty in breathing. When she switches on the TV, he feels his eyes burning and asks her to take him to bed. Later, Owen is standing in front of the bathroom mirror, watching his reflection. He is losing his hair, and his teeth are falling out as well. He opens the door, and it turns out that some infection has also infected his girlfriend as she starts puking. Suddenly, Owen finds his nails coming off his skin. His girlfriend comes and lies beside him. The girlfriend is angry, as she is tired, and Owen is not letting her rest for even a second. She realizes that Owen has been lying to her all along about trying to get a job. She asks him about the guy who got injured on the road, and wonders if he had actually saved him or not. But Owen claims he does not remember a thing, which makes her even more furious. She is sure that he has been lying all along about the guy as well. Out of frustration, the girlfriend moves out. A few months pass by, and the whole apartment is a mess. The phone keeps ringing in the background, and the whole lavatory is filled with blood, along with the entire house. Owen is trying to breathe, but he is unable to. He covers himself with some sheets as he forces himself to the door. He has ordered some food online. He has his eyes covered under the shades as his eyes have changed. He returns to the couch with his food and starts eating, but as soon as he eats, something comes out of his mouth. When he looks, he realizes that he is losing his teeth again. Meanwhile, the girlfriend is at her sister's. She's taking a pregnancy test, and the people on the TV are talking about some pandemic that is infecting people. Owen is at his home, and he keeps looking at his phone, waiting for a call from his girlfriend. His whole body has begun to rot. His skin has started to decompose too. He cannot wear any clothes on his body, and he is losing his mind. His torso has swollen, and blisters have begun to cover his entire body, and his eyeballs are also gone. He has lost all of his teeth. He starts looking for something to eat in the garbage. These days, he always finds himself starving. He is looking for something when someone arrives at the door, having the same face. The kid at the door shocks him. It turns out it is just a mask worn by a little boy, and he believes that Owen is also wearing a mask. He likes Owen's mask, so he hands him some candies for Halloween. Owen's shape has disfigured, and his girlfriend refuses to return. But when she finally does, she finds him sitting on the floor in an unrecognizable state. She tries to calm him and promises to help him. The following story occurs in Italy, and 104 days from the beginning. An older woman, Laura, is standing in a lavatory, wiping off her makeup. A doctor is waiting outside. She has arrived to give Laura her youth. Laura is a prostitute who has given the doctor some money as she wants to be beautiful. Laura wants implants on different parts of her body. The doctor checks and does the markings for beauty enhancements. The doctor takes out the syringe filled with some medicine and injects it into the woman's body. She lets out a loud wail as the doctor keeps injecting the syringe into different parts of her body. When the woman stands again, she messages one of her customers, Marco, to see the surprise she has kept for him. She gets ready, checks her reflection, and starts taking pictures. Suddenly, she realizes that her nose is bleeding, and after a while, The skin of one of her fingers starts to get blisters. She wipes her nose with a napkin and sat down on the sofa. She keeps sitting on the couch, waiting for the bleeding to stop. Later, when her client arrives, he finds the entire house in the dark. Marco keeps calling her name. He sees her coming down from the stairs. She begins to seduce him. He cannot not believe his eyes, as the sudden change in her body leaves him shocked. And then they both make out. Later, when Laura wakes up, she feels hungry, and when she opens the fridge, she starts to eat like she has been starving for ages. The next morning, when she wakes up, she decides to have her breakfast. She feels itchy and realizes that most of her body is covered in blisters. She decides to call the doctor, but the doctor does not respond. Laura keeps calling her, but there is no response from her. Blisters are forming on her entire body. She leaves a message for the doctor. The doctor asks for more money to heal the problem. She does not have enough money, so she decides to treat the illness herself. She picks a knife from the kitchen counter and tries to cut the blisters on her own. She is having severe pain as the blood starts to ooze from her wound. She eventually stops. Suddenly, she notices her veins are becoming visible on her skin, and she tries to cover them under a thick layer of foundation. She realizes that she has to arrange the money for the treatment. She messages another client and calls him in an emergency. In the evening, when he arrives, she tries to hide her wounds in the dim light, but eventually, he notices her rotten skin and starts to leave. Laura's pupils have also disappeared from her eyes. She does not realize that a man is standing behind her as she is looking at her reflection. However, she takes a knife and assassinates him, stabbing him multiple times. After butchering him, she steals all the money from his wallet. Later, her friend arrives in the morning and finds the deceased body. The friend gets scared and inquired about it. When Laura turns toward her, she has no pupil, and her entire body is infected, with her voice completely hoarse. The friend immediately runs away. The last story shows a man walking in the woods, carrying an axe in his hand. At his home, he is recording a video to inform others about his suffering because of the infection. According to him, it all started from the elite class and spread all around the world. His son is fighting for his life because of the same illness. He has isolated his son and is trying to prevent the virus from spreading it everywhere else. When the man returns to the house from the woods, he is carrying something to cook. Once he is done, he covers his face in a mask and his eyes with goggles and goes to his son with food. He has covered the entire room with plastic sheets. He lights a candle and wishes him a happy birthday. The man asks his son to make a wish, and the little boy blows the candle. The man's eyes tear up as he watches his son suffer from immense pain. He tells him that he is collecting money from the town and that his son will be able to get the treatment. He asks his son if he is hungry. He starts feeding him some food. His son's entire face is covered in blisters, and his hand is covered with bandages. Blood is staining the end of the bandage. The father gets drowsy and sleeps sitting beside his kid. When he wakes up, his son is missing, and he realizes how harmful the situation can be. He quickly gets up and starts to run outside. The little boy has escaped from the house. The father keeps running in the woods, calling his infected son, Connor. He takes a flashlight and attempts to find him. The man finds him eating some deceased animal's guts in the woods. The father brings him back and tries to calm him down. He cuts off where the infection is, and Connor starts to scream in pain. Later, the father is sitting outside crying. He cannot see his son in pain, and he is aware that he is causing his child even more pain. When he wakes up in the morning, he lights a cigarette and starts to smoke. After a while, he goes inside and starts to make the video again. He says that the infection is causing extreme hunger in Connor. He is running out of food. Last night, his son got out, and he was eating a raw food. He promises himself that he won't let his son pass away, no matter what it takes. He decides to go a little farther to get more money and food for his child. When he goes to check on his son, he tells him that he is going to get more food, and he will be on his own. He picks up his bag and gets out. When he returns, he seems excited, but Connor is screaming in pain. He wants to end it. Connor moved his father's hand, holding an axe, and slit his throat. Suddenly, the father feels extreme pain in his mouth. He is also infected now, and all of his teeth fall out. He starts recording again and says that he tried everything, but failed, and now he is infected as well. He curses the man who invented the infection to suffer as much as he has.